What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to the REF Sense YouTube channel, and I'm going to be very honest with you. This is going to be a much different video than normal. I'm going to be talking about the topic of fragrance influencers. We are a dime a dozen these days. Look anywhere on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. You will find hundreds, maybe thousands of people reviewing fragrances just like I do. But throughout my fragrance journey, I've struggled with something. How do I know who's an actual influencer versus who's a personality? Who's giving me information that is useful versus who's just trying to get clicks and followers? And, this is very, very dangerous territory for me to be walking in, because I don't want to come off as a person that knows everything or a person that's holier than thou. I've got less than 1,000 followers here. Who am I to say anything, right? But the fact remains is that people deserve to get real information from real people. So what I've done is I've thought to myself, Jesse, what are some rules that you need to operate by as a fragrance influencer? And I think they are great rules that any authentic influencer should be following. So here are 5 rules for fragrance influencers. Don't hate me. Let's just do it. Now, once again, before I get into these, please know that I am not trying to put myself on a pedestal at all. Quite the opposite. I am just wanting to give you my observations from my personal journey through fragrances and through being a content creator. I know what speaks to me, and so I'm assuming, since you're following me, that you're taking hints from the things that speak to me, and you're saying, you know what, those kind of speak to me as well. After all, that's what an influencer is all about, right? So rule number 1 that every decent fragrance influencer should be following: your audience always comes first. And this goes way past fragrances, to be honest. We all know this. This goes for any influencer. I took a hint from a story that I heard about Samuel L. Jackson. A young lady was in an airport and saw Samuel Jackson walking, and she loved him and wanted to get a photo with him and stuff, but she was really nervous. You know how it's kind of weird, fans coming up in random places, especially the airport where people are super tired. But she just kept eyeballing and was like, man, I want to ask him something. Well, Samuel L. Jackson noticed this, saw this lady kind of acting weird, and he said, ma'am, do you want to take a picture with me? And she was like, yeah, I do. I didn't want to be rude. Samuel L. Jackson said the coolest thing ever. He said, without fans, I would not be a celebrity. And so I owe you. As an influencer, guys, we owe our audiences everything, okay? I would not be famous on TikTok if people didn't follow me. What if I had 100 followers? I would not be an influencer with 100 followers. And what is the least we can do? That is to answer you guys' questions. That is to engage with you. That is to make ourselves available when you need us. That's what being a real influencer is all about. And how can you tell this? Well, go into the comment sections of videos that you see on TikTok, Instagram, on YouTube. Are fragrance influencers responding? Are people getting back in touch with other people? It doesn't mean they have to answer every single one. Some of these guys have hundreds of thousands of people. You can't manage that. I miss comments all the time on my TikTok channel where I have 119,000 followers. But you damn well better be sure that I do my best, because without them, I would not be here. So, audience always comes first. Here we go with rule number 2, and actually this one can work a little bit against an influencer, and you'll see why here in just a second. The second rule is, don't give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. That comes from the proverb of, when you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. When you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And what that means when it gets translated to fragrance influencers is, Teach your audience as much as you can about fragrances so that they can go on their own to take what they have learned and apply it. How does that work against an influencer? Well, think about it. A lot of influencers spend their time making money by doing affiliate programs with various companies or trying to get subscribers and get monetized on these various platforms. If somebody is teaching you to be self-sufficient, that means they're not going to need you as much anymore. And that may eat into a person's pocketbook a bit. But if we're being real and authentic with each other, people should be teaching you how to research the notes in fragrances, how to find the best deals in fragrances, where are the best prices and best websites found. How can you learn about these things so that you won't need my advice anymore? You talk about risky when you've got some fragrance influencers, this is all they do. Now, I'm lucky enough, I've got a full-time job, I do my own thing, and I make a decent living. If my channel went away all of a sudden, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It would suck, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I'd be just fine. Some people rely on this as their full-time income. But the fact remains, teach your audience what they need to know to be self-sufficient. Don't give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. Next up is rule number 3, and you know it's going to be a good one because my background just got a lot brighter. That's actually because the batteries were dying in my strip light and I had to change them out between takes. So don't hit me up with continuity error complaints in the comments below. But rule number 3 for fragrance reviewers, that is, don't talk about what you don't know about. This seems like a pretty common sense rule, but I've seen plenty of instances where it's not the case. Take this for example. You see some videos, and by the way, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm not trying to hate on anyone. But this is just, it leaves me kind of curious about the authenticity of these reviews. You get somebody that just walks into an Ulta or a Sephora, looks at all of those fragrances on the shelf, picks one up and shoots a review right then and there in the store, sprays it once or twice, and then they go about their daily lives. But they haven't worn it. They haven't tried it out in social settings. They haven't tested its longevity or anything like that. It's like they know the popular ones. They want to shoot a video of it, and that's it. I don't trust those. Or maybe you've got some other people that know the popular fragrances, go on Fragrantica, look through the reviews, look through the scores, review them that way, and that's it. That is not always trustworthy either. Case in point, I blind bought a fragrance. I'm a big fan of Mont Blanc fragrances myself. I really like some of them. I blind bought this one from Ross. This is Mont Blanc Presence. I saw this in Ross, looked up the notes on Fragrantica. Check this out. It's got cinnamon, cardamom, apple, tonka bean, sandalwood, amber. These are great notes, right? I'm telling you, how can anybody be displeased with this? Well, I blind bought this based on those notes and I smelled it. I don't like this. I don't like it. It smells cheap. It smells generic. It's not my cup of tea. Had I just gone online, read through these notes and said, oh, that looks good, I would have been leading people down a path that I wouldn't travel myself. And that's just not authentic to me. And I'm also, by the way, I'm not saying that fragrance reviewers and influencers have to own a huge collection like this. I've seen a lot that have been selling off their fragrances and trying to condense things. So you don't need like a collection of 500, 600 bottles. But at the same time, though, you do have to have experience with them. So this is a big one, guys, okay? Don't talk about what you don't know about. Here we go with rule number 4, and influencers, I need you to pay close attention if you are an influencer that actually watches my channel, that is. But I need you to pay very close attention. And if you're a viewer that's not an influencer, you need to watch your influencers closely and keep them accountable for this. Never put profits ahead of integrity. Let me say that again. Never put profits ahead of integrity. Being an influencer, it's just the name of the game. We get contacted by companies. We get contacted by websites. Can you push our product? Can you push our website? We'd love to offer you commissions. That's the name of the game. That's the way it goes, and I am not against that. However, we also don't want to fall into the temptation of selling whatever, pushing whatever, because we may make 10% off of it or something like that. That should not be happening. Let me give you a personal example. I am an affiliate for two websites, two fragrance websites. That is jomashop.com and twistedlily.com. Jomashop, they push some affordable fragrances. They push great designer fragrances, and they have a great selection of niche now. I've seen them step their level up like crazy in the last year. But Twisted Lily, they have such an amazing array of fragrances to choose from. They specialize in niche. And I have never, I'm telling you, they treat their affiliates amazingly. But I do have one problem with them. Some of their fragrances are not properly priced. I'm going to give you an example. I push this fragrance a lot, but I'm going to tell you about this one. This is Mancera's Oud Lemon Mint. Great fragrance, and Mancera is an affordable niche brand. On let me start off. Twisted Lily has this exact size bottle right here. This is 4 ounces, 120 milliliters. It has this size bottle right here for sale for $195, or maybe it's $190. Okay, it's almost $200. This one right here. Jomashop.com. They have this same bottle, same size, same quality on sale for $90 to $95, less than $100. Listen, if you're Twisted Lily, if you're seeing this, I love you, okay? But that is a ridiculous price for this. I can find this fragrance almost anywhere else for $100 or less. Nobody should be selling you this. That is, when you obviously know that this is going to be cheaper, don't push the more expensive brand because you may make a 10% discount. That's not what this game is about. If you take care of the people that watch your videos, they will take care of you in return. That's the way this works ultimately. So never put profits ahead of your integrity. Just do the right thing. That's it. Do the right thing. All right, we've made it to the last rule on the list. I hope you guys are still with me because this has been a pretty stressful video for me to make. I know I've been going against the grain, ruffling some feathers. It's not been my intention to throw shade or anything like that. I'm all about trying to promote love and kindness, respect, and positivity on this channel. But you know, every once in a while you gotta kind of cover these topics. But the last rule for fragrance influencers, and this one, it's actually the most subjective of all of these rules, and that is be an influencer, not a meme. You know, I'm not saying people can't have personalities. Influencers should always try to make their content as interesting and relatable as possible. I know that whenever I try to talk about fragrances, I go into all of these points of information, how much they cost, how long they last, what are the notes, things like that, but it could also be, if I'm not careful, it could also seem like I'm giving a college lecture rather than making an informative and entertaining video. But there are also some influencers out there that take it the entire opposite direction and seem to, you know, they've even developed a shtick. Some of them, for example, will say, if you want to be the best smelling man in the room, spray this fragrance on 50 times. Well, you may be the best smelling man in the room, but you will also be responsible for killing about 2 or 3 people if you're not careful. Fragrances can turn people off, they can gas people out, that kind of thing. That's like a shtick, and I'm just not into that. But that's me. Like I said, it's subjective. Some of these guys you may completely relate to, you may be able to get information from them. That is okay. All right? Some of them you may not. Doesn't mean you need to hate each other. I don't hold anything against anybody. But at the end of the day, though, I think influencers have a responsibility to give more information than they do just strict entertainment. So I'm not about, at least the rules for myself, I'm not about relying on trends. I'm not about relying on, you know, what happens to be hot in the market, you know, what happens to be talked about. I'm not like a trend follower. I'm just about, hey, Jesse's going to bring you what he's on about. Jesse's going to bring you the information that speaks the most to him, because like I said before, that's what an influencer does. He influences people based on what has influenced him. You know, so that's just my thing. Be an influencer, don't be a meme. All right, guys, there we go. The stress is finally melting off of me. That was a tough video for me to get through. Like I said, I wasn't trying to upset anybody. I really do hope that you will take this video in the spirit with which it was given, and that is with nothing but love and respect. Additionally, please don't mistake this video as me saying that people should be thinking or doing what I think and do. That's not the case. All I'm wanting to present to you is information about how I have been influenced throughout my fragrance journey. Lastly, I will put this out there to you. I'm not going to tell you the names of channels or reviewers that I think you should avoid. Rather, I will give you the top 3 fragrance reviewers that have resonated in my life. You should be following them. I'm going to tag them in the description below, so go and check them out. Number 1 is Omar from School of Scent. He is second to none in the fragrance reviewing industry. I love this guy. Also, Dan from Mr. Smelly 1977. He is classy, he is gentlemanly, suave. He is the paragon of olfactory integrity. And then finally, Ash from School of Scents. I just love his channel. So I hope you guys have the best of days. Like I said, go in the description below. Follow all of those guys. Like and follow this channel. Share. Do everything you can. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.